Hello internet friends, and welcome back to my series where we look for quality clothing within a brand. Today, we are focusing on Banana Republic. This is kind of like the final boss in the series of Gap Inc. that I have been doing. We covered Old Navy, we covered Gap, and now it is time to deep dive into Banana Republic. Banana Republic was founded in 1978 by Mel and Patricia Ziegler in Mill Valley, California. They were inspired by military surplus and safari gear, leaning heavily into the travel and exploration aesthetic. In 1983, Gap purchased Banana Republic and shifted the style away from safari chic into a more elevated mainstream clothing retailer. The 90s and early 2000s saw the brand focusing more on career and workwear as opposed to like travel and luxury style. In 2021, Banana Republic underwent a rebrand, aiming to reposition itself as a quote-unquote democratic, approachable, and inclusive luxury. In February of this year, actually, it was announced that Zac Posen will take the role of Executive Vice President and Creative Director, overseeing designs across all 4 brands. This is something that I am already starting to heavily see in advertisements and just overall aesthetic and feel. Zac Posen is trying to reinvigorate the brand. There is no doubt about that. That was a very bold move by Gap Inc. And I think we're finally starting to see it trickle into the stores. So let's go ahead and head out to the store and see what we can find as far as quality clothing goes. Upon entering the store, the very first thing that I noticed is a completely different look to the brand as far as the tags go. They're starting to include those like little tack stitches on them as opposed to being fully stitched on. They're also using more of a satin style feeling tag, which these are all signs of luxury trying to take hold of the brand. This is like a clear distinction in the older style Banana Republic that we're used to seeing. And I can't say I hate it. I do like the look of it. I think it is very aesthetic and appealing. And is it weird that a tag matters that much? It really does help in the selling aspect of things. The way that I knew and instantly picked up on it was because I am a thrifter. I am always looking for those higher quality pieces. And I know a lot of times seeing a good, well-stitched tag makes a difference in the quality of the garment. The first dress that I looked at was this 100% cotton lace detailed dress for $200. I always like to do a little scrunch test on the cotton and see how the bounce back is, and this was really good bounce back. Honestly, I felt like I literally like bounced out of my hand and bounced back. That is a true indication of good quality cotton, something that I always recommend looking for when you are at a retail store. Just do a little fabric scrunch. Sometimes it can make a difference. It should really come as no surprise that I am obsessed with natural fibers, upcycling, slow fashion. All of those things kind of embody who I am and what I stand for, and I have recently started taking a couple classes on Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video. Most notably, Hannah Ross. She has a class called Slow Fashion Design for Everyone. You can learn about natural dyeing, upcycling clothing, and hand sewing. These are all things that I am so passionate about learning about. One of my favorite standout moments was learning the art of hand stitching alterations. If you are unfamiliar with Skillshare, they are the largest online learning community for creatives. They have thousands of classes in countless categories, ranging anywhere from beginner to advanced, illustration, design, animation, film, photography. The best part is it is designed by creatives for creatives. The first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Get started today. Another thing that I fully noticed was the store itself embodied the White Lotus aesthetic. And if you've been keeping up with their recent ad campaign, they did just launch a special collection for White Lotus. They have a specific line that's in the collaboration with the show and easily creating a buzz with the brand, but it does seep over into the entire collection itself. The resort vibes are very real in this store. And it's hard to say for sure because I didn't see their winter collection, so I don't know how much of this seeps through. But as we learned in the brand history itself, the safari and kind of heritage style aesthetic is what they've always been known for. It seems like they ebb and flow with representing that style in their collection. Some years it seems like they lean into it heavily, and then other years it seems like they kind of like pull back the brakes on it and they're like, no, okay, we're just gonna go for, you know, classic tailoring. This top is 66% rayon and 34% linen, and it's priced at $120. It was a beautiful top. I really like the drape on it so far. I feel like everything has a very luxury feel to it, and I think the price points are very fair for what you're getting so far. The biggest standout moment to me was the collection of cashmere available. I've been looking everywhere in stores for cashmere, and I am quickly reminded of the Cash Soft collection that I saw at the Gap that I was very unhappy with because it was all synthetic materials trying to parade itself as cashmere. Cashmere is a really tricky one to shop for. You really have to go based strictly on instinct nowadays. You have to learn the softness and the touch of good cashmere. They say to kind of use like delicate parts of your body, so like if you want to run it along your neckline, you can kind of use that as a gauge on how soft the cashmere is. I think that's kind of silly because like who's gonna do that in the middle of a store? I guess if I were spending $500 on a piece of cashmere, I would maybe consider it. Use your fingers, touch it. Cashmere itself is purchased by the manufacturers, typically using a grading system, A, B, and C. A being the highest quality and longest stable length, but most retailers aren't going to include the grade of cashmere that they purchased. It's just not a common practice anymore. At this point, all we can do is hope for the best and just use your little feelers and, you know, see what speaks to you the most. Next up, we have this lyocell linen dress with 100% polyester embroidery, and I think this was a really good example of the White Lotus style coming through in every aspect of the collection. This was not part of the White Lotus piece, but it felt very much resort wear. There were lots of breezy, light linens around the $95 mark. It's nice to see this strong of a collection of linen. While I was in the store, I kept thinking, I would love to know where this is sourced from. That would be very valuable information, and thankfully, the website does answer this question. Per the website, they are using European flax. This is a trademark name. This guarantees the traceability for premium linen fiber grown in Europe, a natural and sustainable fiber cultivated without artificial irrigation and GMO free. Now, all three brands have pieces like this available on their website. So Gap offers a sustainability breakdown, same as Old Navy, but I will say Banana Republic's breakdown on sustainability is probably the best of them all. And pretty much every product on their website has some sort of trace back to how and why they're sourcing the products that they are. Moving right along to leather goods, something that Banana Republic clearly keeps just for the premium store now. When I was at the Gap, it was nothing but plastic faux leather jackets. It is so hard to find good quality leather these days, and it's unfortunate that plastic has seeped into being the replacement for leather. And speaking of leather, I feel like my favorite pastime at this point is taking a mental note of just how much genuine leather belts cost at retail stores, just so I can get that dopamine hit at the thrift whenever I find one. And don't get me wrong, prices are no doubt fair to me. I do think the price tags are warranted in most cases for genuine leather, but there is just no better feeling than finding a genuine leather belt at the thrift store and knowing just how much money you are saving. The thing that won me over the most in this trip though, hands down, was the denim. It was everything I could have asked for and more. Thick cotton, top tier indigo dye, and if you have seen my previous videos, most importantly the Gap video, you know how much I struggled with trying on denim jeans at the Gap. Later on in the video, we're gonna really deep dive into the overall quality across the board with the company, including Gap and Old Navy. So stay tuned for that if you're really interested in a breakdown of denim. It shouldn't really be a surprise because at the price points, this is what you would hope for is the best quality denim that you can find in a market like this. Lots of 100% cotton, a few with 1% to 2% elastane. The website again offers insight into sourcing from certain locations and mills, although they aren't specific about the mills, and that is something that I would have loved to see a little bit more information on. With my Levi's video, I really started to understand the importance of where your denim is sourced from, knowing that my favorite pair of denim jeans is sourced from the American cone mills, which unfortunately closed down, and now Levi's is sourcing from the Kaihara denim mills. It just makes a big difference in the purchase decisions when you know where things are being sourced from and the quality that they are using. Here's where things start to get a little strange for me. The biggest standout moment to me was finding this older season coat. It was like one of the few leftover winter coats in the store, so we're going into spring summer, so it's not a surprise. This really shocked me because this was giving the same quality and feel as the jacket that I just like eviscerated at the Gap. I was shocked that Banana Republic is asking $320 for this specific coat, and it did not feel like the quality was any different. And I was even more surprised by the fabric composition. It is a strong percentage of repurposed wool, recycled wool, and polyester and rayon. That is such a strong mixture of fabrics, and I was so surprised for $320. And they had a shorter version that was 53% recycled wool, 41% polyester, and 6% other fibers. And to be fair, it is not like Banana Republic is leading the way in, you know, high percentages of wool. I would say you are far better off with like an 80-20, 80% wool, 20% nylon. That's gonna be like that really good quality wool coat. Of course, I always say go for 100% if you can and if you can afford it, or if you can hold out and wait to see if you can thrift one, because trust me, there are so many vintage wool coats out there on the market that are 100%, and those are going to be far better quality and keep you significantly warmer during the winter months. I really truly think that shows how important though it is to shop around for a good winter coat. I know we're completely out of the season, but I truly feel like a winter coat is one of those pieces that you should just be so methodical about, if not the like ideal piece to be the most methodical and well thought out in the buying decision, because it is a piece that can easily last you a lifetime, and it will be the most expensive piece most likely in your wardrobe. So take the time to really think it through and really find that good quality coat. The coat aside though, a lot of these pieces do feel like a premium jump in quality, even from the rebrand in 2021, and that can be in large part to Zac Posen. His collection has already started to hit markets, so you can very much feel his presence in the stores. Like this linen blazer had all the markings of a premium item with double backed buttons, clean bias bound edges, and a soft linen touch. At $200, this is what I would expect in a blazer. I would also hope for the best possible sourcing options for linen, but overall, the construction on a blazer like this, I think was very nicely done. Let's jump into my favorite part of the video, the try on portion. I do want to say a side note though, they were running a friends and family sale. They were very much out of certain pieces in the store. I think every single denim piece that I fell in love with, they didn't have my size. First up, this black linen top fit like a dream. I didn't expect this skirt to sit so low and probably would have preferred a better size. So I could have gotten a high-waisted fit. But that aside, the softness of the linen was on point to me. There is no denying that Banana Republic sources really high quality linen at the moment. But the bust darts and the fact that this didn't have any gapping on the top, which is actually pretty common in linen tops like this, made this a 10 out of 10 in my book easily. The jeans also sadly were not in my size, but the denim stiffness were so good and the cutoff was perfect for me. The color was a 10 out of 10. Like I said, I scoured the internet to buy these in my size, but they are sold out and I basically want to cry because they were so good. Now this set does perfectly showcase just how short I am, but it also shows what a good matching set can look like. The only downside on this though was the coloring was not the same. The top was a different darker shade than the pants. So that was a no-go for me, but I will say the construction on it and specifically paying attention to how the hemline sits, I think you can truly see in this comparison how a bad hemline can sit versus a good hemline. But again, the fabric color difference was something that I would not want to invest my money in just because this is supposed to be worn as a set, even though it's sold separately. It just didn't feel like it went cohesively together. Now let's move along to Banana Republic Factory, because when I go deep into these deep dives, I go deep. Aren't I starting to look like that guy from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia? Now, I need to make this very clear. This is my opinion, but the quality of clothing that you are getting at the Banana Republic Factory outlet is nowhere near the quality of clothing that you are getting at the mainline or full line store, whatever you want to call it. It is night and day difference in my personal opinion. There was a point in time in history where outlet stores sold mostly overstock items. So you were getting what they were selling at the full line store, but at a discount price. That is no longer the case for the vast majority of companies. And I don't know if people fully realize that. Sometimes I get a little nervous that they don't. So the easiest way to distinguish the difference in quality is at the outlet store, Banana Republic puts 3 dots on their tag, versus at the full line store, there are no dots on the tag. Always know that is how you tell the difference between the two. So these items are specifically manufactured for the outlet. I noticed a lot more blends, so linen cotton blend, but yet still similar styles, just a lot more haphazardly manufactured pieces. You can still find notes of craftsmanship with branded buttons and genuine leather shoes, but everything was just lower quality overall. The softness and touch of the fabric was a huge swing in difference. Everything felt like Gap quality, but heavily inflated prices and then deeply discounted after that. I tried on 2 sets. The first one was this vest and shorts combo. The material was 55% rayon, 23% polyester, and 22% linen. Now, obviously at the full line store, you're gonna find 100% linen. The shorts cost $80, but they were $40 because the store was running a 50% off sale, and the top was $120 down to $60. And this one also had an additional 20% off if you purchased online. So now we are looking at $80 total for the set versus the Banana Republic store, which is 100% linen top and shorts. And at the time, Banana Republic was having a 40% off sale. So for the set, you're looking at $138. So for $58 more, you can get the premium quality. The 2 standouts for me was the construction and fit. I felt like everything was just slightly off. Like, obviously the clothes are far wrinklier than the clothes that you would find at Banana Republic. It felt far less showroom-like, but the fit of it just felt off. And the fabric was super scratchy in my opinion. Plus, not to mention, you're getting a lot lower quality fabric. And it's gonna sound really funny, but the zipper stood out to me the most. You could tell there was a significant drop in quality on the zipper. So the $58 more, honestly, has to come down to you as the consumer. I'm not trying to say that one is a better decision over the other. Once we get into the territory of talking about, you know, buying power and purchase decisions, it's far more of a philosophical argument because there are so many different ways to look at it, but it's also about what the manufacturers are willing to put into their garments as far as quality goes. In my opinion, the burden falls far more on the manufacturer for continuing to make these terrible clothes to make things even more confusing. I tried on this teal set. This piece was probably the closest in comparison that I could get to the style that I tried on at Banana Republic. The gapping on the top and overall fit was significantly less quality, to a point that, like, it was almost comical in the fitting room looking at how bad a quality it was. It was far less flattering, and the feel of the fabric was such a huge swing and difference for me. The full store price with the 40% off discount was at $108 versus the set at the factory outlet store was $88. So only a $20 difference to get a significantly lower quality piece, in my opinion. Well, let's do this. My final thoughts and hot takes, because you know I have them. Banana Republic is no doubt trying to carve out a luxury brand for themselves. You know, they've kind of always existed in the realm of like mid-tier manufacturing, but I truly think just seeing their tags alone and kind of feeling the store being more like a showroom than an actual retail store just made it feel like they are heavily relying on the, you know, kind of quiet luxury vibes that are going on in the marketplace right now. For me, I always thought of career wear when I think of Banana Republic. I don't really necessarily think of that resort wear feel. And I think with them kind of trying to move the route of like the quiet luxury aesthetic with like a lot more silks and linens and wools and cashmere, it's gonna be really interesting to see if they can play that out. The one major gripe that I have with Gap Inc. in general is they are clearly making Banana Republic their, like, you know, golden child of this is what sustainability looks like and this is how we're making steps and strides in the fashion industry and leading by example. But here's the kicker. According to the 2024 sales report, Banana Republic made up 12.6% of Gap Inc.'s total sales, with Old Navy bringing in over 50% of its total sales. And none of those numbers included the factory outlet stores, so I don't know if they separate that into a different category, but 12.6% is a very small drop in a very large pond of clothing production. It kind of sort of feels like a step in the right direction. It also makes me reflect on everything that I saw in the factory outlet stores, Banana Republic, Gap, and Old Navy, and just how much all of those pieces heavily represent fast fashion. They are clearly made at a rapid pace. They are not sourcing good materials for them. And the outlet stores were packed to the brim full of clothes in comparison to the kind of showroom-esque feel of the Banana Republic store. I do have to say though, I think each store has its own thing that really shines through. Old Navy has a good selection. I'm not saying great, I'm saying good, quality denim at very affordable prices and really good size ranges. I tried on these barrel jeans just to compare them to the gray jeans that I fell in love with. And yes, if you flip up the cuff and look at the craftsmanship, it is significantly messier and cannot compare to the Banana Republic, but still overall great denim and fit. And Gap, even though I absolutely hated on the outerwear collection, they really proved to kind of hold some of the better price points. And Banana Republic is so clearly the crown jewel of fabric, and they really shine through with fit and structure. And I know these are not shocking revelations, and it is something that you would expect in the prices that they're asking. But that does not mean that we should let these other stores off the hook, because Banana Republic is leading with integrity, especially considering those other stores make up 87% of total sales. I really truly hope that Zac Posen can infuse some life back into these brands. One of my favorite revelations in the Walmart video that I did was realizing that Brandon Maxwell designed for both Scoop and Free Assembly, and realizing that was why I was so impressed with the quality of clothing in the price points that those pieces were. And I truly hope that we can start to see that with Old Navy and Gap. Clearly it's already shining through with Banana Republic, but I know those other stores are very capable of making quality. One of the best comments that I saw in my Gap video was just how excited people were about the company in the 90s and the early 2000s, and how many good pieces came from that time period. And honestly, how high of quality those pieces were. I just hope we can get back to those standards. And just to wrap this all up, as far as Banana Republic goes, I felt like everything took 3 steps forward as far as quality goes from what I remember. But everything at Gap and Old Navy felt like it took 5 steps back as far as quality goes. Fast fashion really truly feeds itself. It is something that is just a vicious cycle that once you start buying into it, you almost can't drop off of the hamster wheel, because you're just constantly trying to buy something of quality in that same price bracket. But the more and more I do these videos, I'm just realizing that like there's very few places anymore that are affordable that have quality. That is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new around here, I might have a couple extra videos for you right here and right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.